yours. That's yours. Proceed.
Let me take the 10th to 41st petitioner's case. The 10th to 41st petitioners are a group of Kenyan citizens and one registered association, primarily from Central Kenya region. They filed the petition dated the 17th of October 2024. That was amended on the 18th of June 2025 and re-amended on the 16th of December 2025. They challenged the constitutional validity of the impeachment process and subsequent removal of H.E. Gachagua as Deputy President of Kenya, stating that the National Assembly and the Senate failed to comply with Article 152 of the Constitution, which requires them to modify the presidential impeachment procedure under Articles 144 and 145 for the Deputy President. They said that instead they applied the same rules under Standing Orders 64 and 65 for the National Assembly and Standing Orders 78 and 79 for the Senate without necessary modifications, ignoring that the Deputy President does not have the same powers, prestige, or legal immunities as the President. The petitioners aver that this failure rendered the entire impeachment process invalid, null and void ab initio, and violated the right to a fair hearing under Articles 25, 27, and 50. It was their further position that the impeachment was not a genuine parliamentary process, but was engineered, sponsored, and bulldozed by political and financial inducements to capture Parliament, turning it into a tool to remove the DP and settle political scores, thereby subverting the sovereign will of the people who elected the Deputy President in the August 2022 general election. They asserted that the President and the Deputy President were elected on a joint ticket and that the impeachment violated the rights of the petitioners and other voters from the Central Kenya region who voted for that joint mandate. The petitioners also highlighted and incorporated arguments from Nairobi High Court Constitutional Petition 356 of 2024. In that matter, it was alleged that both H.E. President Ruto and H.E. Gachagua had violated their oaths of office and the Constitution through various actions. Specifically, it was claimed that the President accepted foreign gifts valued at approximately Kenya shillings 240 million in the form of paid-for jet hire and fuel costs for a state visit to the United States, thereby exceeding the legal threshold permitted for such gifts. It was further alleged that the President entered into a secretive treaty with the United States to designate Kenya as a non-NATO ally without tabling the agreement before the National Assembly and Senate as required by constitutional oversight. Additional claims included intimidation and threats directed at members of parliament to bypass oversight, as well as inducement of political defections to artificially control the majority party coalition. The petitioners accused the President of using state violence to criminalize and suppress the Gen Z, otherwise read the Generation X good governance protests, as well as the July 2023 protests against oppressive taxation and the high cost of living, and that he distributed state appointments along acute ethnic lines. Additionally, H.E. Gachagua was faulted for publicly dividing Kenyan citizens into shareholders and non-shareholders in quotes, based on political alignments, whereas H.E. President Ruto is accused of spending hundreds of